is one of the most eerie and perplexing legends to come from the mist-covered countryside of Suffolk, England. In the 12th century, during the reign of King Stephen, two strange children, brother and sister, appeared seemingly out of nowhere, emerging from a mysterious, dark pit in the earth near the village of Woolpit. What was most disturbing about these children wasn't just their sudden appearance, but their unnatural green skin, which glowed with a sickly hue, as if they were creatures from another world. The villagers, struck by both curiosity and fear, took the children in. The pair spoke in a language no one could understand and refused to eat anything until they were finally coaxed into consuming regular food. Strangely, they would only eat beans, nothing else. As the days passed, the children's skin slowly lost its eerie green tint, but their true origin remained a mystery. Some believed the children were from an alternate, hidden world, trapped between realms, while others whispered that they were the victims of some dark magic. The girl, once healthy, eventually died, but the boy grew into adulthood and revealed that they had come from a land called St. Martin's Land, a place of eternal twilight where everything and everyone was green. To this day, no one knows where the children truly came from or what happened to them, but the green children of Woolpit remain a chilling reminder that some things are better left unexplored, hidden in the dark folds of the earth, waiting to be unearthed. The Goat Man is a nightmarish creature that haunts the woods of Beltsville, Maryland, a grotesque hybrid of man and beast. Its very existence, whispered in fearful tones by those who dare to speak of it. This terrifying entity is said to have the body of a human, but its twisted, deformed head resembles that of a goat. Sharp, glaring eyes, a jagged, snarling mouth, and two massive horns curling from its skull. Its form is a grotesque mockery of nature, stalking the dark, wooded edges of the town, its presence marked by the eerie rustling of leaves and the crushing of branches underfoot. The Goatman's legend is is drenched in blood and terror. It is rumored to be responsible for countless mysterious deaths of livestock, particularly dogs, whose mangled corpses are found with evidence of violent, unnatural attacks. Some say it hunts by luring unsuspecting prey into the woods with eerie sounds or the scent of death, and when the moon is high, it strikes with terrifying ferocity. Locals tell of strange, unsettling encounters, footsteps echoing in the dark, eyes glowing from the underbrush, and the bone-chilling feeling of being stalked by something far more dangerous than any animal. Many claim that the goat man will follow you home, lurking just beyond the safety of the trees, waiting for its next victim. No one knows what it wants, but those who've encountered it never forget the darkness in its eyes. The goat man is real, and it is waiting. The ghost of Kiev is a haunting legend born from the heart of war, a spectral figure that has terrified and fascinated those who have heard the tale during the harrowing days of the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, as Kiev was besieged and the sky filled with smoke and terror. A mysterious fighter pilot appeared. This ghostly figure, said to be a Ukrainian ace, flew a sleek, deadly aircraft across the battle-scarred skies of Kiev, striking down Russian planes with unnatural precision. Some say the ghost of Kiev was a living hero. Others claim he was a spirit summoned by the very anguish of war. What is certain, however, is that his presence in the air was both a beacon of hope and a harbinger of doom. Witnesses, often terrified civilians watching from the ground, described seeing a lone plane cut through the chaos, its movements swift and unearthly. The ghost seemed to defy the laws of physics, appearing in places where no plane could be, and vanishing before a single bullet could hit him. Those who spoke of the ghost said his eyes were always just out of sight, hidden beneath the shadows of his helmet. whispers that the ghost still roams the skies, protecting his people, a figure born of both war and vengeance, never to be caught. The Ghost Boy of Clinton Road is one of the most unsettling urban legends, set in the eerie, desolate stretches of Clinton Road in New Jersey. The legend tells of a boy, young and innocent, whose life was tragically cut short near an old, crumbling bridge that spans the dark waters below. Since his death, he is said to haunt the bridge, waiting for the living to come and play his haunting game. Those brave or foolish enough to stop at the bridge and toss a coin into the murky water below might find themselves in the grip of something truly supernatural. As the coin sinks into the dark abyss, the legend claims that the ghostly boy, his presence barely more than a shadow in the dim light, will return the coin to you. But it isn't just the coin that's returned. There's something more chilling about the encounter. As you wait in the silence, the temperature drops, and you may feel a cold hand brush against your own. The touch of the boy reaching out from the grave. Some say the boy's ghost is trying to communicate, trapped in a never-ending loop, replaying his last moments. Others whisper that his return of the coins is a dark invitation, an omen that something more sinister waits in the shadows, watching and waiting for the next visitor. The Ghost Boy of Clinton Road is not just a tale to be told. It's a warning. If you ever find yourself standing near the bridge, don't throw the coin, because if he comes back to return it, you might not ever leave. 1865, the quiet town of Felixstowe, England, became the site of a terrifying encounter with something otherworldly. It was a crisp night when residents witnessed an extraordinary phenomenon that defied explanation, something that would forever haunt the town's history. The air grew thick, and a strange, unnatural glow lit up the sky. What they saw that night was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. A fire demon, an immense fiery entity, descended from the dark sky. Its flames blazed with an intensity so fierce they cast a hellish red hue across the landscape, turning the streets into a fiery labyrinth. The creature moved with eerie fluidity, its form shifting and writhing as it hovered above the ground. Witnesses described it as a massive, burning figure, its eyes glowing with an infernal light, its presence suffocating and oppressive. Panic spread through the town as the demon floated above, casting a shadow over Felixstowe that seemed to drain all warmth from the air. The heat from its flames was unbearable, yet it did not scorch the earth beneath it. And then, as suddenly as it appeared, the fire demon vanished, leaving the townspeople paralyzed with fear and confusion. To this day, no explanation has been found for the sighting. Some say it was a visit from beings beyond the stars. Others claim it was something much darker. But those who saw it never forgot the horror of that night. The night Felixstowe was touched by the flames of something far more terrifying than fire Van Death is a terrifying urban legend that has haunted South Korea for nearly a century. The myth claims that sleeping in a closed, windowless room with an electric fan running can lead to a horrifying and sudden death. The chilling idea is that the fan's cold breeze, South Korea was gripped by superstition and fear. Since then, the legend has persisted, warning people to never sleep with a fan on in a closed room. Even in modern times, the myth holds sway. In 2011, the Korea Herald reported the death of a 59-year-old man found lifeless with a fan pointed directly at him, reinforcing the chilling idea that the fan had taken his life. Though skeptics dismiss the phenomenon as a mere myth, the fear of fan death remains very real to many. To this day, warnings against the practice are printed on many fans sold in South Korea, a constant reminder that some dangers are said to lurk in the seemingly innocent hum of an electric fan. Fair Charlotte is a tragic and chilling tale that has haunted New England for generations. A story of beauty, vanity, and a chilling price paid for pride. The legend speaks of a young girl, Fair Charlotte, who, on the night of a grand New Year's ball, was so consumed by her desire to look perfect that she ignored the cold creeping through the dark winter air. Dressed in a delicate, shimmering silk gown, she refused to cover it with warm clothing, believing that her beauty would be ruined by a bulky coat or shawl. As she rode with her escort in a sleigh through the snow-covered streets, the temperature plummeted, but Charlotte remained oblivious to the freezing winds biting at her exposed skin. Her vanity was her undoing. By the time they reached the ball, her body was stiff, her lips blue, her fingers frozen. She had frozen to death. Her once beautiful face, now pale and lifeless, still clutched in the icy embrace of the night. The tale doesn't end there. Locals say that on cold, moonless nights, you can still hear the sound of a sleigh's bells echoing through the frozen streets. But no sleigh ever comes into sight. They say it is Charlotte's spirit, doomed to ride for eternity, seeking warmth she will never find. A warning
quiet town of Quitman, Arkansas, an unsettling tale haunts the streets. The legend of Jarrell Bettis, more chillingly known as the Dog Boy. Locals whisper that Jarrell was no ordinary child. With an eerie fascination for cruelty, he terrorised the town, his twisted grin and deadened eyes enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. It's said that as a boy, he would capture stray dogs and cats, dragging them into his family's decrepit house, where unsettling cries and strange noises echoed through the night. As he grew older, his dark nature only deepened. Jarrell's obsession with pain extended to his own parents. Neighbours claimed they saw him towering over his elderly mother, his hands clenched, his eyes wild with some unspeakable rage. His father, a once strong man, was seen bruised and frail, unable to escape the torment inflicted by his own son. Shadows would flicker at the windows, figures moving in unnatural ways, and rumours spread that Jarrell was more than a man, something twisted, something monstrous. One night, the house fell silent. No screams, no shadowy figures, only an oppressive stillness. Some say Jarrell vanished, others claim he still lingers in Quitman, watching from the dark, his cold gaze fixed on anyone who dares to remember. And when the moon is high, they say you can feel his presence, a chilling shadow creeping closer, a memory of pure, unhinged malice lurking in the quiet streets of Quitman, waiting, forever haunted by the Dog Boy. In the shadowed woods near Leicestershire, a creature of nightmare prowls, Black Annis, the dreaded blue-faced hag. Cloaked in darkness, her gnarled face is stained a haunting shade of blue, her iron claws gleaming with a terrifying sharpness, honed from years of hunting in the dead of night. Children and townsfolk alike know the tales of her hunger, a twisted craving for human flesh that sends shivers through the village. Black Annis hides in a cave carved from the rocks by her own jagged claws, a lair littered with the remains of her grisly feasts. Animal bones, and some say human bones, line the ground, while the chilling stench of decay fills the air. As dusk falls, she slinks from her den, her clawed hands scratching along tree trunks, leaving deep gouges in the bark. Her piercing eyes, dark and unforgiving, scan the surroundings, searching, waiting. She has a particular taste for children, her long, spindly fingers reaching out to snatch any who wander too close to the edge of the woods. Many parents tell their children tales of Black Annis, warning them not to stray after dark, lest they become her next victim. They say she hides beneath beds or crouches outside windows, her twisted grin visible just beyond the glass, savouring the fear of those trapped inside. Sometimes, villagers claim to hear her unearthly wails in the wind, a bone-chilling howl that pierces the night. They say it's her call, a twisted lullaby that drags the unwary toward her grasp. On moonless nights, her figure can be seen creeping through the shadows, her blue face glowing faintly, iron claws poised to strike. Today, the legend of Black Annis still haunts the children of Leicestershire, a ghastly spectre lurking at the edge of nightmares, waiting to snatch anyone who dares defy the tales of her insatiable hunger.
In the dimly lit chambers of Spanish folklore lies a chilling legend about the Castilian lisp, a haunting echo that whispers through the language itself. According to the tale, centuries ago, there was a Spanish king whose tongue bore a strange affliction. His speech was marked by an unnatural lisp, a soft but chilling hiss that crept into every word, bending the sounds like twisted vines. This was no ordinary speech impediment. Many believed it was a curse, some ancient hex upon the royal bloodline. The legend says that the king's court, fearful of invoking his wrath, began to mimic his lisping speech, imitating the soft, eerie sounds that dripped from his lips like poison. They say the lisp spread like an infection, starting with the nobles, then seeping into the commoners' tongues, and finally swallowing the entire land. It became known as the Castilian lisp, a language haunted by a ghostly sound, forever marking Spanish speech with the king's cursed voice. But there are darker layers to the tale. Some say that those who refused to mimic the king's speech met a horrifying end, found with throats slit, their final words etched in blood. Shadows of resistance were snuffed out like candles, until all that remained was the unnatural lisp echoing through Spain. To this day, in the twisting alleys of old Spanish towns, people claim to hear it. Late at night, when the streets are silent and the air grows cold, you might catch a ghostly hiss, the faint chilling echo of a sound long forgotten but never gone. Some say it's the king himself, his spirit lingering, enforcing his cursed speech on the living. Others believe that the lisp is a specter in the language, an ancient whisper that slips from the mouth of those who speak it, bound to a promise no one remembers making. So, when you hear the peculiar sound of the Castilian lisp, listen closely, for you might just hear a voice from beyond, a phantom king, still whispering, still lingering, haunting the language of his people with every breath. In the eerie world of fame, there lies a chilling superstition, the celebrity death rule of threes. It's a whispered belief, an unshakable omen that warns of impending doom among the glittering lights of Hollywood, politics, and stardom. When one celebrity falls, fans and the media alike brace themselves, knowing all too well that this is merely the beginning, a grim lives are claimed. They say that death has a peculiar hunger for threes, a dark, insatiable pull. Once the first life is taken, a sense of dread seeps through the industry, thick and unrelenting, and the clock begins ticking, its silent chimes echoing like a death knell. Paparazzi, fans, and celebrities themselves grow tense, waiting for the next blow to strike. One by one, names appear in the headlines, lives snuffed out like candles in the night. Some insist it's mere coincidence. Others believe that death itself is toying with them, reveling in the twisted rule it's written in shadows. People recall eerie patterns, clusters of stars who fell too close together, as if drawn by some unseen force. Musicians, actors, politicians, all succumb, as if they're unable to escape this chilling fate. Whispers claim that those marked by the rule feel an impending presence, a shadow lingering just out of sight. And as the third life is taken, the specter of the rule retreats, vanishing until the next cycle begins, leaving fans haunted by the pattern, their hearts heavy with fear. So next time you hear of a celebrity's sudden death, listen closely. You may feel the cold breath of fate, hear the ticking countdown, and wonder, who will be next? The rule of threes is always watching, an unseen predator stalking the world of the famous, waiting, calculating, until 3 more souls join its haunting collection. In the shadowy corners of Staten Island, a name whispers through the night. Cropsey, once a harmless tale to keep children in line, it has grown into a nightmare that stains the very land. Parents warn their kids, stay close, or Cropsey will come for you. But no one truly understood the horror that lay behind the legend. Cropsey was a boogeyman of the darkest kind, a figure cloaked in rags, with wild eyes and a twisted, deformed face. He lurked in the woods, waiting for vulnerable children to wander too far from safety. Those who ventured too deep into the dark forest never returned. Their screams vanished in the wind, leaving only silence in their wake. The legend didn't stop there. As the years passed, Cropsey became something far more real, an embodiment of true terror. In the 1970s and 80s, a man named Andre Rand emerged from the shadows, a twisted figure monstrous figure in the legend was no longer just a story. It was flesh and blood, roaming the streets of Staten Island, snatching children one by one. Cropsey may still walk among us, his